Here we are, everybody. This is what we've all been waiting for. A dream for every caster, because the story between these two players doesn't get much better.
Yeah, they have had an interesting relationship when it comes to WCA 2015. Foggy actually qualified to go to Gamescom and to play for one of the 3 slots there to go to China. But he couldn't go because he didn't get his visa. In the Ukraine, he wasn't able to get his visa, and so he just couldn't come. So it was only 3 players there at Gamescom to play for 3 spots. Well, that doesn't make much sense. So they needed a replacement. And guess who was there to cast with us? YAWS was there only to cast with us. So they said, all right, since you're here anyways, I guess you're the replacement. And that's how the story started. That's how Mark YAWS Förster got to go to China and managed, with a miraculous display of skill, to take 2nd place. One of the craziest stories in Warcraft history. And now the two are facing. Mark YAWS kind of has to thank Foggy, at least a little bit.
But he never, he didn't, but there were shots fired in Yinchuan. When he was in our caster booth, we asked him, do you have any words to Foggy? And he said, yeah, hi Foggy, how you doing? Like, I'm here, you're not, I'm doing great, you're not. That was the subliminal message from these comments back then. But I think these times are over. We all know how YAWS is, and so it was never taken with a grain of salt from Foggy. A very cool guy, very beloved guy. And I think these are the 2 European fan favorites. Everybody was cheering for YAWS in December. Everybody was cheering for Foggy at GCS Spring. Thanks to the great coverage by Ugrilainen at Twitter, PlayFFA, it is his account. He was there as well, covering the path of Foggy throughout the group stage, where he met Lin, where he met 120, Infi, and I guess Yumiko it was in the lower bracket then. And it was cool to see the person behind Foggy, behind the nickname. A very beloved guy, a very nice guy to everyone, very gentle guy. 2 very opposite characters clashing here. We had a straw poll before the tournament started, and we asked the community who will win Group B. And despite the big resonance that YAWS gets on his stream and in the community, 66% said Foggy is gonna win this. 33% for YAWS, so everybody counted everyone else out. These are the 2 favorites in this group. YAWS, of course, then the favorite for rank number 2. So the game has been hosted. We are ready to join this one. It is not human versus undead anymore for YAWS. It is not night elf versus undead anymore for Foggy. This is an entirely different matchup. This is human versus Night Elf, and let's see.
That's starting on your favorite map as well, on Echo Isles.
Exactly. Your statistics versus the Night Elves in Europe, not that great, to be honest. 7-11 versus Warchief, despite great games at Gamescom. Versus Rudin it's 2-1, versus Sonic it's 1-2-3, and versus Foggy himself 2-5 the statistics are. They met in 3 Jera Cups though. That is long time ago, almost a year. Foggy took all 3 matches here, 2 best of 3s in quarterfinals and 1 best of 1. But as I mentioned before, Jera Cup YAWS is not the real YAWS. And how much pressure is on Foggy now? It's the 3rd attempt to qualify for WCA. If he fails the 3rd time, wow, he must be heartbroken. And these are the situations where YAWS shines, when he can lay back. He has nothing to lose, basically.
But it's still online.
It's still online, exactly. And that is the big point that shines for Foggy. In online competitions, he is a monster. 13-time Jera Cup champion points that out. Whew, this is going to be really intense. What are the odds for you?
I would give the edge to Foggy. We haven't seen YAWS play at the highest level since he took his 2nd place. After that, honestly, he didn't take anything too seriously. And yeah, as I say, it's still online. YAWS's big strength is offline. And last year's qualifier for WCA online, he dropped out against HLA 2-0. This time, how seriously, how well can he play online? Can he get in the groove? Can he, you know, muster all of his concentration, even if it's not offline. And Foggy, something that you were talking about, are the nerves maybe going to get to him? This is the third time he's trying to qualify for WCA, but I think we had an example already that should make us assume that the nerves are not a problem, and that was GCS. He got out of the group stages, out of a hard group against Lin. He didn't manage to advance far in the playoffs, but he put himself on the global map, and he said that he is a player that has to be considered for contention.
This is, by the way, the playoff grid, and this game is important because the winner of this game will face Hawk. And I think both players would like to face Hawk because the loser, or the second player of this group, will face Warchief Rich. And this was one of the most dominant performances of Warchief in Group A on Thursday. They want to dodge Warchief, they want to face Hawk, and so the win counts. Ukraine versus Germany it is. Ukraine already has Sonic in the quarterfinals. Germany has already WAN in the quarterfinals. So one of these two countries will have a second player. Everybody's ready. I guess we are ready to go for the match of the fan favorites here. Two very, very, very different characters. YAWS is known for his mind games. He knew exactly how Warchief would play on Echo Isles. He knew, okay, he's blindly expanding on this very map. So what am I going to do? I do a tower push. Will this work as well? We're going to see how this pans out. In the upper left, Andrei Kurench from Ukraine, 23 years old, as the Night Elf player. In the upper right, Mark Förster from Germany, 26 years old. So the first question is first hero picks. Warden, Demon Hunter, Archmage, Mountain King. What are we about to see?
Well, Mountain King will be very surprising to me. Of course, the first round, after we were seeing them, we have to be honest, they were warm-up games. Easy pickings for the two players that we're seeing right now, for the most part at least, in the first round. Now, this is where it really gets serious. And I think this is where YAWS is going to start putting in real effort. And by the way, we can see the mind games coming out. As Reiseleiter YAWS, who would like to have a little bit more cheerfulness. He sent out a peasant right away, like immediately, and now he's pulling the creeps towards the Ancient of War. He's going to lose the peasant, and the Ancient of War should not be killed, but is going to take significant damage. How much is this? Like 300 damage, something like this. So he's going to need more wisps for repair if he wants to creep this.
Exactly. We see the hero choices in the upper left. Archmage for YAWS, the usual standard pick here for the Night Elf, and it is the Warden. So much talk about this hero, so much magnificent plays we've seen from this hero, especially
Whoops, the button fell.
On this very map. Last year's WCA qualifier, this is where a lot of this started, with Rudin playing versus Hawk with the Warden. Fantastic game, one of the best games of 2015. The potential is here that we see the same stuff happening again. The Archmage, of course, the usual game here on Echo Isles is expansion play by the human player, but YAWS always up for surprises. As I mentioned, tower push definitely a small, but possible. The chances are small, but it's definitely possible. Warden is out, Lightning Shield creep goes on, and the experience gathering begins.
Alright, doing it perfectly so far, hasn't denied anything. Also, the Wisp was scouting where the AM was going, didn't lose the Wisp either, and now he's gonna be getting to level 2. What is the item gonna be? This can already be a big difference maker. Renegade Wizard, what you got in your pockets? Hit the boots of speed.
One of the two items that can make a big difference. The other one would have been the Pendant of Energy, I guess. So, with the boots, so much more mobility for this hero, and you love that as a Night Elf player, as a Warden player. The Shadow Strike slows down the targets, so if you have boots, you can get more right clicks out, you get more damage. And this is, of course, for free. He doesn't have to buy it, so this is the perfect opening for the Ukrainian, for Harry Potter.
And YAWS, he is not going to be ignoring the mercenary camp, as usually we see with this creep route. If the humans take the little green camp next to their main, where the claws can drop, then usually after that they go for the expansion and then for the Murlocs, and that will be their level 3. But YAWS, he's going to slow everything down here. He wants to play it more safe, goes for the Merc camp first. He wants to have the Shadow Priest for healing. And the item he finds, well, pretty unfortunate. The Ring of Protection +3. This Archmage now has a lot of armor, but the most damage most likely is going to be coming from the magic damage of the Shadow Strike.
Foggy himself is not going for the really aggressive route. He wants his level 3 as fast as possible again, and this is more like a War Chief approach. Immediate Tree of Life, immediate counter expansion, on top of things Ring of Protection +2 and close to level 3. YAWS, will he know about this? Will he scout this? Does he assume it, that this expansion is coming up? He knows how to play against this. But will it be
the Warden has a tele staff. There's a Wisp moving in. No Arcane Tower yet. Here we go. Staff coming in, and I can only imagine Fan of Knives, excuse me, and there it is. But very quick reactions from YAWS. Gets the peasants out of harm's way, but is it gonna be quick enough? The cooldown should be ready in right now.
Whoa! Quad kill by Foggy, and what an opening to this match. He has Blink, he can get out, and this is a disaster for the German, losing the 5th peasant. And this, okay, he gets the creep here, but he gets found by Foggy, and the Warden is moving down. There's no mana anymore for the next Fan of Knives.
He wants the item.
And he gets it. No, nice block by YAWS. Oh, the blink and the claws for him. Oh, this would have been superb for the Archmage. But yeah, the level 3 Warden. That's why everybody fears her so much.
Nice little adjustment there with the Staff of Teleportation. Not only does it deal damage to your opponent's economy, but also the Tree of Life has been constructing all this time. It hasn't been harassed by anything from the human side, but now he's fearing some kind of aggression, and that's why he's getting the second Shadow Priest. This delays his tier 2, as we can see. It's only started a little while ago here, but he wants to be safe. He wants to be extra safe against the aggression. We have 5 Footmen, a Shadow Priest for YAWS as well, and a Berserker. The Water Elementals will be a non-factor, and the Warden's coming in again. Not full mana, but there are 2 Fans of Knives.
YAWS only now with the Town Hall. He was lacking resources for it, and yeah, a lot of peasants had to be rebuilt thanks to the quad kill. The Tree of Life is up, yes, but YAWS is occupying the path.
The Warden!
Here
Fan of
we
Knives.
go again, number 1. And when's the cooldown gonna wear off? 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Will this be another quad kill too? Ah, okay, she has no mana thanks to the Arcane Tower. But YAWS is doing this rather smart in delaying the expansion for Foggy, blocking the path, attacking now, and with the Warden being gone, there's not too much Foggy can do. YAWS with the focus on the Shadow Priest, killing the first one, almost killing the second one. This build from Foggy coming in to get rid of the mana points here, but still, it's a lot of footmen and it's a good amount of damage.
He used the TP instead of his tele staff.
Okay.
A misclick, I think, from Foggy. I don't know what that was about. But he's a little bit panicking right now because his Tree of Life is in a lot of trouble. Might be losing it. Wisp Repair is coming in, but they're, of course, very vulnerable. Here we go. Fan of Knives coming in again. And he has a lot of them left. There's going to be 2 more Fans of Knives. I don't know that YAWS has enough to sustain all of that damage, but same can be said for the Tree of Life. Taking more and more hits, and Foggy's fighting himself under a lot of pressure.
Level 4 now, though, for the Warden. Fan of Knives number 2 coming in, killing the Shadow Priest, and the Footmen are all severely hurt. Foggy trying to repair here, and there's no mana for the Archmage, but the next Water Elemental is coming in a second. Next Fan of Knives, almost a double kill. Foggy still has the Shadow Priest and the Berserker. This is so much damage, and this Water Elemental has to carry now. I feel he has to kill the Tree of Life if he wants to stay in this game.
Well, YAWS at least finally got his expansion up himself.
The boots are coming into play now. But Foggy, a little micro mistake here. Not chasing the Archmage. Now the right clicks come out.
But he has a level 2 blink. I think he's not chasing?
Nope.
What?
I don't get this.
What?
He could have forced the town portal for sure.
Yeah. What the hell?
And Foggy is heavily investing into mercenaries. He wants to be super duper sure. And he forgot his Hunter Soul the entire time, so his tech is worth nothing.
I think that's okay, though. He doesn't have the resources to spend, you know, on masses, so he can go for the hero if he wants, the second hero if he wants second hero, and if not, he can just tech to tier 3. So yeah, it slows him down, the Hunter's Hall, but it's not. I don't think he needs the Dryads like right now as quick as possible.
I think this is a major mistake, man. He was so far ahead in everything, but YAWS bought a lot of time. The expansion for Foggy still not up, and usually when this blind counter expansion comes up, the Night Elf Expo is finished before the human expansion. This is not the case here. He has been mining for quite some time, but this push is going to be really hard. Really, really hard. The Warden has a lot of mana and even a mana potion. This is unlimited fan of knives, and it's only footmen. Here's the first one. 2 footmen almost down. Level 3.7 for YAWS. Muddy the Mud Golem on both sides. So how much damage can Foggy do? He has a lot of mercenaries and he is buying time for himself.
And everything is looking great for Foggy. This Warden is not far away from level 5 at all, and then the Fan of Knives gets really crazy. Arcane Tower burning the Warden now, as it's supposed to blink out, using the Clarity as well. One more Fan of Knives is ready. The Scroll of Regeneration running for YAWS, but still pretty damn hurt are all the footmen. Getting another kill here. Only one single peasant is separating him from level 5. Or he could just take the Murlocs right next to where he's standing, and that is going to be the level 3 fan as well. In the main base of Foggy, Ancient of Lore number 1 at least is coming up. He's a little short on everything, and there's Lore as well coming at the expansion. And I imagine tier 3 shortly after that. The Archmage trying as his best to defend his expansion, but there are no guard towers here, only more arcane towers coming in, and the mercenaries have to be dealt with.
Yeah, I like YAWS' approach here before the first fight started here at the expansion. Oh, Fan of Knives again, so nice, but he gets level 4. Buying more mercenaries, delaying the tech that was really necessary to fight off this push, and it's working rather well, but now Foggy has definitely stabilized. The Expo is up, the Expo is running. Tier 3 has started, everything is good. Has the Huntress Hall, no updates just yet, but the Entrance of Lore will be finished in a second. And then it's time for Dryas, then it's time for Dispel, then it's time to get rid of the Wards Lamenters, then it's time for Slow in combination with the Boots of Speed, and the Warden is coming in again. Double kill, triple kill, quad kill it is! And YAWS' economy is heavily suffering. He concedes. GG, tap out by YAWS, and Foggy takes this map home to the Ukraine.
And I think in that game, especially, you could see the level of practice. Foggy had all the timings down perfectly. When to creep what, when to buy the staff, when to staff into the main, when to be hitting the expansion, when to leave the army at his own expansion to keep it safe, the number of Shadow Priests he needed against the Water Elementals, the number of Wisps he had to have nearby for the repair. This was pretty much a perfect game out of Foggy, I would say. I always think, though, that Echo Eyes is really good for Night Elf versus Human, though. So that comes into play as well. YAWS played well, but YAWS didn't have a game plan laid out for the entire game.
Yeah.
He was kind of like playing it, seeing it how it goes, and, you know, going with the flow. Foggy had a special plan in mind, special moves, special tactics.
The staff, you mean?
Yeah.
The staff with a Wisp resulting in a quad kill. That was really what started the downward spiral of YAWS in this very game, because he had to rebuy all those 4 peasants, 300 gold, delaying the expansion, taking so much time off the clock for Foggy. His response was good, but it wasn't great enough. If he kills the expansion, it's an entire different game. But the damage wasn't enough. Foggy's defense was good, thanks to mercenaries, of course, and the Fan of Knives, which is just key in this matchup, in this one. So how can YAWS respond now? The next map is Amazonia, and usually it's an okay Night Elf map.
I think it's pretty decent for both races. I don't think that I would give either of the races the edge here. This is, of course, no Warden map. Well, it might be Warden map if you want to play it really risky, but if that gets figured out, you're gonna possibly be facing a lot of aggression, and you're not gonna be easily able to get the Warden to level 3. Usually we see the Demon Hunter here. Usually we see a fast expansion here from the Human as well. And pretty often, recently, we have been seeing the Immolation as well. And Foggy, is Foggy one of the guys to go for Immolation? Do you know from the top of your head?
Oh, yeah, man. In my personal record book of fast games with the Demon Hunter, he's on number 1, defeating Zyko in the Jera Cup in 4 minutes 12, if I'm not mistaken, with Demon Hunter Harass. So he can do that, but he likes to mix things up. This is a very serious competition. This is the most serious competition we have in Europe. Will he go for it? I think he does. I think he does, and from my gut, I'd say he's backing it up with Hunter's Hall pressure, with Hunter's pressure as well.
And we saw that be very successful with the Demon Hunter and the Huntresses going for the expansion, finding quite a bit of damage and kills with the Immolation. and then Tier 2 hits pretty soon, and then the Panda Tavern is right next to the expansion. Get that guy as well. Oftentimes, it works in such a way, the Demon Hunter TPs home, heals up, that's when the Panda hits, uses Breath of Fire, he backs up, the Demon Hunter coming in again, and that is so much pressure onto the human, who really has to be on top of his game to be able to defend that. By the way, we are going to have a little bit of a pause here. Our caster friends from Russia need about 5 minutes to get ready, and this might be the last map for Foggy already. If he wins this, he is in the upper bracket, in the playoffs, excuse me, and he will be facing Hawk. First place of this group plays against Hawk in the playoffs. Second place plays against Rich.
Rich, yeah. What a story this would be, YAWS versus Rich, man. They met 3 times at the WCA European Pro Qualifier at Gamescom. They met at WCA. That was all offline, and YAWS won only 2. Okay, it's 2-2. But YAWS won the important ones, except the final maybe, but that was only about money. When it went through who's joining the next stage, YAWS won the big ones. This time it's offline, and this will favor Warchief a lot, I think. No stage, no offline pressure, no mind games in front of this. But that's all for the future. I think we should focus on this one here.
YAWS, as we mentioned already in game number 1, he loves the mind games, loves going into...
You see it when the game starts, he immediately chats a bit.
He loves trying to get into his opponent's head. He also oftentimes talks about momentum being a big factor. So he doesn't only think about the game, what is necessary in the game, what do I need to do in the game, micro and all that stuff. There's a lot of it. YAWS is not just a player, he's a competitor. He thinks about all of these aspects. Is he maybe going to try to throw in a cheese here? Because with a super solid standard play, he does not seem to be as well prepared as Foggy.
Yeah, I agree, but I think on the entire continent of Europe, there is no player who prepares better, who prepares more efficient than Foggy. He has everything down. He even has a coach called Pooh in Ukraine or Russia, I'm not too sure, he's from goodgame.ru, who prepared him for GCS, and that worked pretty damn well. So I can only imagine that those two sat together again and worked out some tactics and some timings and some opportunities that Foggy can exploit. So it's really hard. You have to put up a lot of time to beat Foggy when you know that you're going to face him. In Cups, of course, it's something different, but they had a lot of time to prepare, and that is favoring Foggy hard.
Yeah, and especially in this matchup where, of course, with the fast expansion, you expose a lot of vulnerabilities. And then when your opposing side is training so hard to find any sort of opening that he can try to abuse, and you don't have that much experience with trying to, keep those windows of opportunity as small as possible, then Foggy most likely is going to have quite a few openings to deal that damage. As we saw on Echo Isles, 9 peasants killed in the first few minutes. That throws you back significantly, obviously. And didn't even come to a real game. Foggy was just pressuring a little bit with a few mercenaries. He had Ancient of Lore coming up, he had Tier 3 coming up. His whole late game strategy was assembling, but it worked so well for him that already that little bit of pressure was enough. He is really getting stronger and stronger. It's so cool to see. Remember last year when we said in January and February, man, that's this new guy, Foggy, man, he's getting pretty good. He might be up there soon. And now he is possibly up there as one of the big favorites.
Exactly. He grew a lot over the past 12, 18 months as a player, I bet as a person, making that trip to Shanghai, competing with the best offline in one of the biggest competitions we have, apart from WCA, the GCS, a tournament sponsored by NetEase, and that is, of course, the publisher from Blizzard. So it's an unofficial Blizzard tournament where he wants to qualify, of course, again later this year. I think in early September it's going to be. So, yeah. Take the gloves off, guys. YAWS with the back against the wall. He needs to win this, or Foggy is in the playoffs. Amazonia it is in the upper right. He respawns Foggy with the wind in his sails. He is 1-0 up.
Alright, we're obviously expecting the Demon Hunter. I don't know, did we ever see the Warden on Amazonia?
AZ, no. Well, I think I saw it once, but not in a really serious game.
Yeah, I think Turtle Rock and Amazonia are the maps where there is actually never a Warden. Last Refuge, there's a Warden every now and then.
Whoa!
And it is the Warden. Alright, Andy, show us how it's done here. We have not seen it before.
Usually the Warden shines with level 3. Amazonia, not that fast, not that easy. What's the plan behind this?
Maybe he's gonna set up a new Ancient of War next to his Merchant. That would give him the level 3. Obviously, it requires a second Ancient of War, so that delays his tech and everything else. But yeah, as we mentioned over and over, the Warden, she needs her levels. She is not really a right-clicker. She's kind of a right-clicker, but not really a right-clicker. No Demon Hunter, no Blade Master. So she relies on her spells. And her spells on level 1 are pretty damn bad. So she needs level 3. Good thing on Amazonia, level 2, extremely easy. But where do you go for level 3? Night Elves obviously have the advantage and disadvantage of the Ancient of War creep. Ancient of War creep is easy, but if you don't have an Ancient of War, then creeping is very hard. So she's gonna get level 2 here, gets the Circlet and the Tome of Agility. That's fairly nice. But where does she go after that? By the way, on the other side, we see instant expansion coming out of
this. Is nice for YAWS. Usually the Warden wants to be here with level 3 when this happens and spam the Fan of Knife as often as she can. YAWS, did he anticipate it or something? I don't know, but this is a wise choice. I think the Warden is running over immediately. Still level 1. No skill has been chosen yet. The Rock Wall is going down.
He missed the Detonate. That's a big deal. Now the Warden is not level 2.
Greater mana for YAWS as well. More Water Elementals. And yeah, that is not level 2. YAWS is level 2. The Archer's coming in. No creeps have been stolen. He goes for Shadow Strike first. And that means no area of effect. And that means the peasants will most likely survive.
He wants to go for the AM, but YAWS is pretty afraid, is running away as fast as he can.
Huntress Hall, by the way, by Foggy at the lab. And a second Engine of War. This is exactly what you said, right next to the Merchant. So he will take his time. He will slow things down a bit, chase the Archmage, maybe try to keep him away from level 3. But this buys time for YAWS' expansion. And then Foggy comes back with level 3, with Huntress, with a lot of area of effect.
And just imagine how different this game would have been had the Detonate hit on the Water Elemental. Yeah. There would have been Blink. He would have been able to catch up to the Archmage with the Shadow Strike. So that's like 100 mana for Blink and 150 for Shadow Strike. That is exactly what it needs, and that would have been enough to force the TP out of the AM. He would have been low, he would have been forced back. This changes the game so much.
Yeah, but YAWS has lumber issues. He can't power build this at the moment. Oh, it denies the peasant. That is so important. Once again denying the level 2.
And here come the double trolls for Foggy. He really needs to find some damage. He is stuck on tier 1. No counter expansion. He is pretty much all-inning with aggression.
Level 2 finally. Finally. And did he skill something? I think he needs Blink or a Town Portal, and he decides to go for the Town Portal. The first Huntress appears, so that is exposed as well. But of course, he wants to be home, he wants to heal up, he wants to fill up his mana bar, creep this one, and then come back.
Alright,
this is creeping this.
A lot of potential though, potential aggression here. Huntress, double trolls, and the Archer, and obviously the Warden, and more hunts coming. Yeah, level 3 would be very beneficial, but he feels that right now the human is weak and this should be exploited. No towers up yet, only 5 footmen, one of them hurt.
Here we go, level 2 with the Warden. This is still no Fan of Knife skill. Shadow Strike on the Archmage. He wants to keep him away as fast as possible, or drive him away as fast as possible. Damage from the Berserker is nice, but YAWS' reaction with Militia is driving Foggy back. At the moment he can't do anything to the economy, and that's what you really want. The cool thing with the Spice Girls here.
Lots of Militia coming from the main. This delays the lumber intake significantly for YAWS. So tier 2 will be far away. But I don't even think he's thinking about tier 2 right now. He just wants to survive. He sees the double Ancient of War, I mean. Huntress production coming in. And Footman at some point will not be enough to deal with this anymore. He needs towers.
But he scouted the Ancient Protector now. Foggy is backing this up with a sneaky little tower push. The Huntress now finding the access to the Peasant line, but they're kind of blocked there. Archmage once again versus the Warden. Not the perfect encounter for the German here. And the Ukrainian has a good time here on AZ.
Huntress is retreating out of the goal line. None of them being surrounded here. Militia support trying once again to help. Nice deny onto the one archer. He knows the Archmage is far away from level 3 because he instantly took the natural. No other creep camp. But the water elementals are not too impressive so far. First Arcane Tower will finish, which is nice, but it's not too great against the Huntresses. In the main of Foggy, we can still see only tier 1. This really is all-in commitment to the aggression.
Towers at the main base, so he can pressure at 2 points, but YAWS scouted this with the Footman. Well done. Can he react in time, though? This keeps time for pressuring the expansion. It's only an Arcane Tower. The Hunters do not care one bit. Or 3 more Wisps coming in, as well as the Troll Twins. More Ancient Protectors here. YAWS needs more Footmen, YAWS needs more Militia, YAWS needs more of everything.
Ancient Protector positioning himself, but Footmen are quite a few here. Where's the repair from the Wisps? Not coming in only very late. I think this is too late. This Ancient Protector might be falling. Here we see the first fan of knives being used before level 3. Warden is going to be level 3 right now. And the next fan of knives is really going to hurt. She's positioning herself. Actually goes for the Shadow Strike instead. Interesting. And the Arcane Tower instantly burning the Warden. YAWS is playing this well, but is it well enough? The Archmage in trouble, but the Warden is surrounded and there's no TP. Extremely nice move by the Vice World Champion.
Oh yeah, the Archmage goes down though, but the YAWS surrounds for once sticks. Can he defend this though? The Archmage will be back faster, so this can buy at least some time. But the Peasant line has been shredded. Lots of corpses here everywhere. And the Arcane Tower is gone. Exodus from the Town Hall. Expansion abandoned. Warden back from the tavern. But no mana. She has to get back. YAWS is not buying his Archmage back in the altar, so he's back as well. With, of course, the Brilliance Aura. A little upside to this one, but there's no shop for him. And now the first Ancient Protector is at the base, and the Huntress are knocking on his door.
6 Huntresses, how does he deal with them? They're all low though. Scroll of Healing would be magnificent, but there's no such thing just yet. The Warden also far away from this fight, so this Ancient Protector is easily killed with mass amounts of Militia. But the Huntresses still standing strong. The Archmage in a bit of trouble. Is there Shadow Strike mana? Yes, there is. Is it going to be enough for the kill though? There are boots of speed, so the AM is pretty fast. Also the Warden obviously not having the boots, so the AM will get away barely. Well played coming out of YAWS though. He's giving up and wishing good luck to Foggy.
Whoa, the Ukrainian had all the answers in every book to YAWS's playstyle.
And showing us that you don't really need level 3 Warden immediately.
Yeah.
Level 2 Warden being pretty damn effective. Warden and mass Huntresses and a few mercenaries as well into the mix. Severe pressure to the natural. And we've seen this quite a lot now. Like the last, I would say, 3 weeks, Amazonia, 4 humans against Night Elves, they face so much pressure creeping the natural.
Yeah.
I think you really should not take it first, because you're going to be stuck on level 2 for such a long time.
I'd agree. I would definitely agree.
So the next match we're going to have after this was obviously the winner's final, and Foggy, we saw just winning against YAWS, is now in the playoffs. He's going to be playing against Hawk in, I think, the lower part of the bracket. We're going to be showing it later. There's only 1 spot left to give out for the playoffs. YAWS is waiting in the lower bracket final, and his opponent, that's who we're going to find out who it's going to be next. Is it going to be Sheik or is it going to be Abrams? The 2 big underdogs in this group are now going to be playing out who gets to go up against YAWS next for the final spot here in the WCA EU qualifier. We are in Group D. We're almost done with the group stages. We're finishing group stages today. In fact, tomorrow we're going to have a break, and then on Tuesday, the day after, we are continuing with the playoffs of the last 8 remaining players. So 1 spot to give out. Is it going to be YAWS, Sheik, or Abrams?
This is exactly